Hello and welcome to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. My view of humanity is a whole new tea. Hi, hello, and how are all of my lovelies, my royalty, my beauties, let's just say it's been a interesting but entertaining and beautiful year. I hope it's been the same for you. And well, kind of tragic and sad and mourning. I don't know, it's just a mixture of everything. And so, and mourning, like mentally, physically, yeah, it's been an interesting year, but it's still some beauty out of it, especially like outside of politics, outside of the craziness that MAGA and Republicans and everything have been like the racism, which this episode is a river of racism episode. And more proof of why, like, it's just, you know what, grab something steaming, boiling hot, scorching, hot to sip on, the petty tea. If you like it cold, just hold the ice. Yeah, hold the ice. Like, hopefully, we won't have to hold the ice for way too long, but with the way that politics is going, yeah, just a little while, just a little, So, but river of racism. Oh, and don't forget to check out my Patreon. I have tons of evidence of not only of river of racism, but also dating nightmares and politics and the hate that especially black women get, sexism and all the isms basically. And yeah, I'm going to be starting to do some things relating to my business on there, true crime and the Reddit stories, which, yeah, I keep telling you I'm going to get back on there, but I haven't yet. I haven't. You guys know I haven't. But hopefully within the next 2 or 3 months. I'm hoping sooner, but it depends. Anyways, okay. Oh, let's just say there is I think, like a legislator or like a representative from Tennessee. Yeah, Michelle Renell. Yeah, I always want to talk about the isms within America and the issues because a lot of people have a blindfold on, or they are covering up their ears, or they are just pretending, or they enjoy the fact that other people are struggling based off of something that they were born with, either disability or gender or race or sexuality or whatever. So it's like some people enjoy that, especially Republican, able bodied, straight white men. They love that. Yeah. And it's evident because even right now, they are saying that companies and stuff are being racist against them when everything is targeted for them basically. But then when to balance things out, when something's maybe for women or black women or people of color women, then they're like, no, no, no. And then they sue and take it to court and demolish it when even when it comes to business loans, I think it's less than 1% or less than 1% of business loans go to black women. So we already have a hard enough time, like even when it comes to capital and saving money and like jobs and things like that, we already have an unequal balance with getting a job and getting a higher paying job and things like that, while we are the most educated demographic in this country, but we still have such a hard time because of the imbalance and the racism and sexism. But yeah, but when it comes to certain, see, because it's like, and I don't know the percentage, but I'm almost at a point I'm wondering, is it like 50-50? Is it 40-60 of people of color who they don't realize the racism? Or are they holding hands with the colonizer saying, hey, don't look at me, I'm one of you, and I will help you ruin the lives of others just as long as you don't include me with those others, even though technically you guys look at me as an other? Because, you guys know about race and the history of race. And because when segregation, desegregation, it becomes very tricky, especially within the definition of white, definition of black, definition of all the other nationalities, races, and things like that. Yeah. It's very interesting because, well, within, for example, like Representative Michelle Reneau, yeah, she would have never, I don't think within history they would have ever looked at her as white. But the funny part is, Hispanic people used to be considered white. Yeah. And then Italian people used to not be considered white. But they kicked out the Hispanic group and invited in the Italian group because of different parts of history was coming about, especially when it came to slavery. And then the freedom of the used to be slave, like, yeah, the freed slaves and everything, now that they were freed. But then there was the imbalance, so then they needed more white people, so then they invited like the Irish and the Italians to now be included as being white. But then it's really crazy because like, she wants to use the Bible, and then she was like, well, then our forefathers said like all men are created equal. But then the way that they kept twisting and tying and changing the definition of white for the white power, for the injustices. And then she said created equal, but with created equal, how come the creators of the American police, they were slave catchers, but then the slave catchers basically went around and burned down the black cities, but you want to say they were supposed to be equal. Equal. They weren't going around burning down the white towns, hurting and eliminating white people. No, no. And even if you look at history today, most people didn't care when black people were getting eliminated by police or by ICE. But then once two people, a white man and a white woman, were eliminated, all of a sudden, some of the white women, white Republican women, started paying attention. Yeah. And then went with ICE. A lot of Hispanic people didn't think, they thought they were white. And then I just read an article. Well, it's in one of the last episodes, actually. Yeah, I share like different articles, and some articles help me for future episodes. So I'll just say, go catch up. But one of the articles that I recently posted in another episode, it showed how most Hispanic people, they check the white box for race. They say that they're white, not other or anything like that. They say that they're white. So one issue within this country is a lot of people of color still have the mindset of being white, but then they're shocked when people that look just like them are being kicked out the country. But then some of them don't mind and don't care because they're like, oh, that means more power for me. And, or I did it the right way. Or my parents got me here just in time before I was born. So now I don't have anything to be scared of because I have my papers. And the white man's not going to do this to me. They're not going to treat me like you because I'm not like you. But now I'm seeing this woman who, her mom was from Vietnam, like she was a legal citizen, and her father fought in the Vietnam War and everything like that. But I don't know. It's just now she's a mom of five, and I don't know. It's just anybody that tries to, because I guess, I mean, they're talking about education, how it should be taught in the schools, and then like, but then trying to say that it was okay back in the day. No, it wasn't. But it's like, especially when it comes to certain people, Republicans and MAGA people, yeah, a lot of them make it okay because it was towards a group of people that were never going to be considered white. It's like to them, black people are always going to be at the bottom of the pyramid, the bottom of options choices. And another reason why, yeah, I'm poking a lot at the Hispanic community, but don't worry, like I just talked, well, no, I'm going to be posting an episode about how China is showing blackface and different advertisements. And I might even put the video in this episode too, because yeah, you need to watch this. It's, whew, but it's like uh, a lot of people keep saying that they are exhausted of black people and they want black people to stop talking about racism and how other people are racist when don't you think we wish we could stop talking about it, but we keep bumping into racism. We keep finding people that are racist against us and treat us differently because of our race, but then they say they're not racist, but then they say, oh no, it's just how your people are. You're the reason our country's this way. You're the kind of like my ex's mom, Mrs. Masher. Yeah. She said it quite a few times that the reason our country is the way it is because of my people. Or she said your people, but she meant, yeah. Yeah. And I tried to ask her what she meant by that, but then all of a sudden, my ex told me to change the subject. And he did not know, like, I wanted to break up with him so many times, but then he would blame me. Even at the end, when I finally I didn't even care anymore. I'm like, blame me. I don't care. I'm out this piece. I know. You don't deserve me. The way you treat me like garbage. It's like, but at the same time, he's going to say he's not racist. But if you're going to allow your mother to treat me like that and say all the racist, awful, terrible, dehumanizing things about me, oh, yeah. But this chick, this chick has the nerve to say that it's like, like, because she wants to base it off the Bible and say it's okay because of the Bible and things. But, okay. All men are created equal. So then why did these slave owners like try, like basically have black babies as bait for the crocodiles or alligators back? It's like so that they can have some, alligator or crocodile soup. It's one of them. Okay, I'm probably going to say the wrong one, but yeah, they literally set the baby out near the swamp so that, it can like, it'll lure them out. And then with the black women, they tested on them without anything to stop the pain. Like they were just objects, whatever. And I'm gonna repeat the drowned cities. There are drowned cities all over this country. The massacres. If all men were created equal, because yeah, this woman had the nerve to try to say that garbage, then how come they still wanted to make sure we were not educated? How come we were still not allowed to get an education? If we were equal and fair, how come we were not allowed to be educated? How come there were sundown towns? You say that like equal, all men were created equal. Hold on. How come there were some towns, if a black person was in at night, they would probably be eliminated, turned into strange fruit? How come we had to start our own colleges and universities to the point where now, today, so many white people say that it is racist for us to have black colleges and universities because they are so dumb, uneducated, ignorant, just plain racist, bigoted, awful, terrible human beings. You pick which one. Because if they're that just demented, if they're that just lacking of knowledge, but then we have the internet today. Why can't they just type, why are there black colleges and universities? Or why are there not white colleges and universities? Because all of the colleges in this country used to be whites only. That's why the black colleges and universities were built. But you do not know how many times I've heard even people of color tell me that's racist. Yes. And this is why I'm doing this episode, because so many times people of color have stabbed us in the back, and or like even with the college admittance and whatever over the last few years is like, yeah, the whites partnered with a group of Asian students because Asian students said black people are not smart enough. Again, black women are the most educated demographic in this country. Try us. They say we're not, smart enough. So they took it all the way to the Supreme Court. But now, some of those same Asian Americans are crawling back to African Americans because guess what happened? More African Americans got admitted, and fewer, I repeat, fewer Asian Americans are getting accepted. One reason is because of their names, which one reason why African Americans fought for it, and they included the names because they knew how racist, and they knew how a lot of white people, they can read them, like reading the names can tell somebody where someone probably is from, what nationality someone is. We try to tell you. Didn't we try to tell you? And we can't, like, if all men are created equal, then how come we still can't go to work with our natural hair? We're human. Our hair comes out of our hair and defies gravity. But you hate on us and tell us that you want European American or European styled hair. So then you want us to put something that can cause cancer, and or our hair is a lot more fragile. But then we put like heat on it, but and or some of us wear wigs and sew-ins, so we don't have to put that heat. But then we get mocked and teased and torn apart because we're trying to protect our hair. And then even some African Americans, even some black people, even some like people straight from Africa who moved over here are saying that, oh, you must hate your hair, you must not like your hair, you must not like, no, 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 you have not. So it's just really interesting how the hate that black people get on a regular basis, and even redlining. If all men were created, like, I mean, the Orange Man had like some redlining court issues. Don't you guys remember? There's still so many lawsuits because black people are finding out how real estate agents and how people who are supposed to go in and give an estimate on how much their house is valued at. But once they see a photo of African Americans or an African American family within the household, they drop the value of the home significantly. A lot of times, I'm not saying all the time, but enough times where there are so many lawsuits out there because of that exact thing happening. And how come at so many banks are either want to close a black person's account, or they don't want to give them a check, or they don't want to do basic banking when they say it's a black person. There was actually one that happened a month or two ago where the woman brought in a check from one of her clients to put in her account, and the bank wouldn't take it because they said it was too much. The bank said they weren't going to take it because they said it was too much. What? Shouldn't a bank be be about that? Shouldn't they? But this is the racism, this is the hate. They don't want us to be able to make that much money. They don't think we're smart enough. They don't think we're capable enough. Oh, unless they think we did something illegal. Yeah, that's when. That's when. And so, and then, oh yeah, we cannot forget about back in the day how when a woman would need to go and have a surgery, almost any other type of surgery, but then all of a sudden took out her uterus. Yeah, they made sure that she could not have babies. They made sure that like black women weren't not going to be able to have children. Yeah. But then look at the Republican Party, and the Republican Party saying we need more population, we need more kids, we need more babies, but they're not talking about the black people. Mm-mm. Yeah, they took away the right of abortion, but not for black women. Mm-mm. Because black women are still have a really like a much higher percentage of passing away compared to almost any other race in this country. But you don't see them going like having federal money to do tests and figure out why. Yeah, you don't see that, do you? So I don't know. It's just this country, and then especially it hurts. It hurts when I see people of color do like the amount of hate. Which again, look at my Patreon. A lot of the racism, a lot, and I have so many more still. But especially when you look at like when like Haley Bailey was the Little Mermaid, Ariel. A lot of the hate and even some of the people calling her the N word were Asian. Asian Americans. Well, actually, Asian and Asian Americans, but some were Hispanic, but a lot of them were Asian, and that hurt because I'm just like, wow, really? Really? Because when I was younger, I used to think, it's like people of color, they're of color too. They understand what we go through, they understand the racism and the hate and the judgment and stuff. But then I realized, like, no, a lot of them don't. A lot of them, like, and this is why in several episodes I've stated how surprised I am that a lot of people of color, and even around the world, they chase the colonizers. In so many countries, like especially when you look at the history of the Holocaust learned from America. They learned from our enslavement, from chattel slavery, on how to mistreat people. But then America, in return, went and learned from the apartheid in Africa. It's like kind of like the prisoner philosophy. When prisoners or once a criminal goes into prison, you just welcome them to prison university. Criminals are then going to teach them on how to do a better job the next time. And with racism and cruelty, look at ICE and look at even the Orange Man the second time around. He learned from the first time because the first time, people, like with a lot of his ideas and the things he wanted to do, people kept getting fired because they refused to do what he wanted them to do. And even with Black Lives Matter and the protest outside the White House or whatever, he told some of those security people to aim at their legs and target their legs with the weapons. And they were like, no, we can't do that. And he got mad at them. With Black Lives Matter and even at the stadiums and football fields, whatever, what did he call them? And what did he call Africa? What did he call the Somalian people? Who did he say eats cats and dogs? What did he call COVID? Yeah, Kung Flu. Which demographic had an issue with getting terrorized during COVID? Black people have had everyone's backs for so many years. We've tried to have love and compassion and caring We've tried to have love, compassion, and caring and coming together. And at the end of the day, though, we still have a long way to go. But we have a long way to go with people of color, and that is horrifying. That is, like with all of the lessons around the world of colonizers, like coming over and stealing and like doing horrible, horrific things to people. But people will still follow the power. And the group that people always look up to are the ones that will hurt, like, as a, like, remember, I'm talking about the colonizers, not the underground railroads. Remember, it's like if you've been listening to my episodes, you already know. I was like, yeah, I'm talking about just the colonizer, like, of the demographic. Okay, not like, okay. Anyway, if you don't know, then catch up, keep up, whatever. I'm just I'm at a loss for words, but also, like, what will it take? Because at the same time, they're trying to change our history. They're trying to erase the history. And I feel like this Republican woman will not care. I feel like she doesn't care. It's like because she keeps trying to say, well, it was in the Bible. Yeah, and back during slavery, they would only teach the slaves the chapters and verses that taught them how to be a good slave. Brainwashing, tormenting, torturing, because even other things followed us through history from slavery. That, I think, 2x2 or 4x4 box. I think it was a 2x2. They use those at the ICE immigration camps right now. Does she still think all men are created equal? When people are being dragged out of their houses, some people are like, oh, they're criminals. Huh. But when the colonizers came over and took over America, they destroyed tribes and burned them down, and even eliminated cattle to make sure that the Native Americans could not eat. And then even Canada and America, like when they forced them into the schools, they would not allow them to live their culture, speak their language. It's like the whitewashing. It's like, but all men are created. Like, no, they did this to almost like to every other demographic, and they used some of you white people, or some of the white people out here. If you like majority Irish, you weren't always white. Italian, you really need to look up the history of Italian Americans. It's like, because a lot of them, they're so proud of being white, and some of them might even be in some of the hate groups. Power is scary. Power is horrifying, especially when you're dehumanizing and treating other people differently, but then also within history, you're trying to mold it and create it in a way in order to not allow the colonizers to feel guilty, to allow them to just be like, that was just a part of life. That's just how it was back in the day. Oh, but anyway, thank you so much for listening to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. I am a woman, I am of color, and I am handicapable. But most importantly, I am human, and you're human too.